Hi friends, so I am filming this on Sunday afternoon when I post this on Sunday evenings. Oops. It's mainly because this week has just been a really calm week. Really not that much has happened, and the little that has happened I couldn't vlog it. So I'll just kind of quickly walk you guys through the week and then I'll do the positivity segment at the end. So this week, as I say, has just been really calm. I was still fighting that cold that I've had. It was really stuck up in my sinuses. It's all cleared up now, thankfully, so I do feel better. Other than that, I'm also at the 12 to 13 week kind of junction of my pregnancy, and as a lot of people who have been pregnant know, that's a really difficult time period. So over these few weeks, the fetus basically doubles in size, which means that your symptoms double also. So I've been feeling really unwell and just lethargic. I've been sleeping pretty much constantly when I'm not sleeping. I've been sick, I've had morning sickness, I've been really nauseous, so not really fun to vlog. Not fun for me to film, definitely not fun for you guys to watch. We've also slowly been packing and finishing up the planning for our trip that we're taking, which is very exciting, and I love packing, be it suitcases or packing boxes, so that was fun. One really good thing that happened this week is we went to get the 13-week ultrasound. So for those of you who don't know, there are markers throughout your pregnancy at which doctors recommend you do get an ultrasound just to make sure everything's developing normally. And one of those markers is kind of 12 to 13 weeks. So we went to get the ultrasound and everything is developing completely normally. So I know a lot of you are very curious about pregnancy and kind of facts around pregnancy, so I'm kind of going to go over what happened and what we learned in that ultrasound. So we were able to hear the heartbeat for the first time. Thankfully our doctor has kind of higher end equipment and you can hear it much earlier. With some equipment you can only hear it kind of as of 15-16 weeks. So that was really special, being able to hear the heartbeat, especially when we weren't actually expecting it because we were thinking it was going to take a couple more weeks. So that was a really nice surprise. So what they're checking for at the 13-week scan is how the organs are developing. So kind of the first 20 weeks of the pregnancy are dedicated towards developing organs, and then later the next 20 weeks is for growth and that kind of stuff. So what they check is they want to see that everything's developing normally, and at about 13 weeks you should be at about 60 to 65% full organ development. Which Bubble is at. It was really cool. So not only did we obviously hear and see the heartbeat, we got to see the blood flowing through Bubble and through the cord. We also saw Bubble's spinal cord, so we know that that's normally intact and should be working as usual. Obviously that we won't really know, but it seems completely normal. And we also saw the Bubble does have both hemispheres of their brain. So that was really cool and just really nice to know, because it's kind of those first few weeks where you have to be really careful with your diet and the supplements you're taking to help build all of these organs. So it's nice to know that all that hard work actually paid off. We did try and get some nice pictures of Bubble, however they were very excited about being on camera and just wouldn't sit still. I didn't realise a 13-week fetus would move that much. They were wiggling around all over the place, they kept moving their arms and legs around, and at one point they did a somersault. I'm not kidding, they did like an actual full-on roly-poly. The doctor burst out laughing and said, well, that's a very happy baby. What's also really cool is the stage that Bubble's at means that they're actually practicing breathing in the womb. So we actually got to watch Bubble practice breathing and it just looked like really intense hiccups. So yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the week, but couldn't bring a camera. And we can technically bring a camera, but the room's really dark so that the ultrasound is very clear, and it's just more of a moment kind of for Ben and I to be able to enjoy this. And if something were to go wrong, I don't really want to be filming it when the doctor goes, uh-oh, this is a problem, and then kind of have that on camera forever. Even though I wouldn't need to post it, I still have to face the footage, and I don't really want to have to face that if it ever comes to that. So for this week's positivity segment now, I want to talk about knowing when it's time to back down from an argument. So we've all had arguments, and especially nowadays with the age of social media, it's non-stop. You can literally go online and find anyone to fight about anything with. Some people feel it's very cathartic to fight online, but it actually makes you an angrier person. The bigger issue with online arguments is a lot of people don't seem to know when to stop. I got into an online argument, and I'm not proud of it, a couple of days ago, with someone who, once we had both kind of said our piece and had our sources brought out, they ended up with less sources than me, not saying I was right or they were right, whatever. I had more sources, more information to share, and they didn't, and they decided to instead actually attack and insult me as a person. And this is the moment for the both of us to back away from the argument. If one or both parties who are engaged in this argument have run out of actual factual things to say, it's time to just back away. If you're the person who's run out of proactive and conducive things to say to this argument, it's time for you to back away. It doesn't mean you're wrong, and it doesn't mean you're right. It just means that this argument won't go any further for you, and you can just back off from it. Similarly, if you're in an argument with someone and you still have things to say and they've started attacking you personally, for example, just back away. Especially with arguments online, it's just not worth your time. The problem is when we get involved in an argument online, we get really wrapped up and take everything personally. Backing away feels like we're giving in and it's a hit to our pride. However, it's really important to learn when to back away from a fight. Not only is this a skill you'll use online and with interactions with people you don't know that kind of helps better everybody's day, it might be something you might end up having to use at work or even at home. Your boss may be in a really bad mood that day and be on your back for things. It might lead to a small argument, but it's best for you to just back down because you are risking your job. Similarly, your partner may be in a horrible mood after a terrible day at work and they come home and they snap at you for something. It's easy to snap back, but it's important to remember that they're not snapping at you, they're just in a foul mood, and that doesn't make it okay for them to snap at you and it doesn't make it fair, but it's definitely not fair for you to retaliate. There's always a time in an argument, be it right at the start or after an hour, that you need to just back away. Sometimes you're arguing with someone and you're trying to change their mind. It's important to realize that not everyone will change their mind. The way that you're so set in your ways is the same way they're set in their ways, and after a while, it's pointless you trying. For your own mental health and to keep a more positive lifestyle, if you realize that this argument's going in circles or has turned into just insulting each other, it's time to back off. And if having this argument could jeopardize work or relationship that you don't want to have jeopardized, just don't have it. Find a respectful, clear, and simple way of saying what you're thinking without it turning into an argument. For example, if you come home and your spouse hasn't done the dishes and you ask them to, instead of saying, "Why didn't you do the dishes?" just say, "Hey, I'm sorry to have to nag you about this. I asked you this morning if you could do the dishes and I understand you've been really busy. Do you think you can find a time between now and when we go to bed to just quickly get them done?" The overall message is the same, it's do the dishes, but one of them is more likely to get done than the other. Just remember that every time you get involved in an argument, be it face-to-face or online, you're spreading more negativity. And not only that, you're turning your brain into a more negative mindset, which means you're going to start seeing more negative things. Bear in mind what I said in the very first vlog when I talked about what is positivity. Positivity doesn't mean being happy all the time. It means choosing to see the positive in things. It means even when you've had a terrible day, point out one thing that's gone well. The more fights you have online, the more negativity you're bringing into your life, and therefore the less positivity. Sorry that this vlog has been uneventful. My life is just uneventful. It's not, but as I say, the things that have happened weren't vloggable and nothing else happened but those things. So hopefully next week will be more interesting and more fun. But until then, bye!